Hello.
Good evening.
How are you all? Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for being here.
Great
Welcome.
to see you all in the chat. Hey, Andrew Brooks. Hey, Wagyu.
Hello,
hey, Neil Wharton.
everybody.
Inky. Hello.
Inky's
welcome.
made it.
Where have you been? What's going on? Come on. Join us.
I think Monday's usually busy for Inky. Thank you for
really?
joining us here
Really good to have you.
for the BOOcast.
Yes, quite a big one tonight.
It is. We've put a lot of work in. We've got lots of stuff to share with you.
And I've already said big one. Whoops.
Oh.
Let you take over for a second.
Yeah, okay. So we got quite a few things to share with you this month. Well, we'll go through them in order, but it was an eventful month. We had NAMM, of course, the fantastic music trade show happening in California every year.
Yes, we did. Shall I just do that? Okay, so tonight on BOOcast we have our NAMM Top 6.
Ooh.
That's right. Now, hey, Matt, in the chat, congratulations on your fantastic work at NAMM. That was brilliant. I'll turn this on there.
Stylophone, fantastic
Let's
stuff
go down
coming
there.
out. Stylophone's doing all sorts of new, exciting things at the moment.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. And following on from that, we have some advice for some new music releases. We've got a couple of recommendations for you.
Yeah, there's stuff, two albums coming out on the 1st of March, which is very exciting, and we just want to share those with you.
Yes, indeed.
So,
and
yeah.
after that, we're going to be talking about some live shows. There's some things coming up.
Yeah.
And we have a song stories for you tonight.
Story. It's been a while, so yeah, it's a song story. It's probably going to be the last one for a while. Or maybe not. We'll see. It took a while to make.
It's a bit of a history lesson, this song stories as well.
Yeah, I kind of go through several hundred years of history in it, but it's not long. Don't worry.
Turned into Bridget's turned into Mary Berry. Is it Mary Berry?
I
Have
don't
got that?
know.
Is that the right one? I don't know.
Isn't she the baking
Is she a
lady?
baking lady? I don't know. I don't watch TV. I just pulled a TV name out of my bottom. There we go.
We've got Synth of the Month, of course.
Synth of the month.
Exciting one.
Yes, indeed. And finally, we have a little live performance from the archives.
Never before seen.
Never before seen, and I think moving us around. Look at that! Way, whoa, yeah, fantastic. Never before seen.
I think the audio. I mean, it was just a one track on the video, wasn't it? It wasn't mixed separately or anything.
I think you'll see why it's never been before seen.
It might be a little rough and ready, but it's very, very old, so it's interesting to see.
Yeah. We're sharing a lot of dirty laundry tonight, as you will see. Whoa, out it comes. So that's all tonight on BOOcast number 20. All that
20.
and more in the month when Korg went mad.
Yes.
All that's coming up on your BOOcast number 20, which starts right now.
Yay!
Fantastic. Okay, so how are you all doing? Everything
Well,
all right?
I just have to pass on. Wagyu says that your Base Station 2 videos finally got through to him, and he's got an AFX station ready to go.
Oh, well done. That's
Gonna
nice.
get into it. What a fun
Very
thing.
nice.
Ooh.
Yeah, lovely. I might have to get another one day. Mine's been crapping out a little bit. I think I might have dropped it once too often. People tell me there's a sort of connector cable inside that may have come loose and I should open it up. But yeah, I'm normally not worried about opening things up because it's so important.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's our key workhorse, that one.
Key workhorse thingy.
Yeah.
So sorry to hear, Andrew Kovaceski, it's raining.
Raining
Where you are,
heavily.
it's flooded.
In LA?
In LA.
Very
so good luck
unusual
with
for
that.
LA.
How's the weather?
It was an arid place.
Welcome to a British show. We talk about the weather.
Well, there's more to talk about than that.
Yes, there certainly is.
Let's talk about NAMM.
Okay, so
Should we talk about NAMM first?
yeah, let's do that.
Because you guys you've all got your different favourites. Of course, Chris was covering the written coverage for Sonic State, so you got to see absolutely everything that went up.
I did. Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't there in person, but I felt like I was. It was very much. It was quite an intense little journey we all went on.
How many videos were there?
I can't remember, 80 or something.
Dozens, 80.
90, I don't know. But Sonic State, as ever, did fantastic coverage of the NAMM experience. And by the way, hello, Maths out there.
Yes.
And well done, and congratulations on your work at NAMM and on winning that award that you won for the,
Yes,
was it the
was,
Theremin?
Best in Show add-ons and accessories.
Best in Show
for the Dubrac theremin, stylophone theremin.
And like when you think of it, Best in Show, theremin's got a little tail. It's a bit like a dog, isn't it? So it could be Best in Show in many, many ways. But we've put together a little thing which is our NAMM Top 6. Now, you're more than welcome to disagree with us. But these are just the things that we sat down together and had a little think, didn't we?
Yeah, that's sort of most stimulating, inspiring, interesting ideas.
So
I mean,
it's all personal opinion, isn't it? So we don't have a title sequence for this, so I'm going to do this. NAMM Top 6.
Ooh.
And at number 6.
Sounds like we're going to see something rude.
Yes, the Korg PS33.
Oh, that is explicit.
3300. What an insane thing. I mean, on top of everything else that Korg released this month, very surprising to see that come out. Apparently,
amazing. So
only 50 made originally 48 note polyphony, but now it's got 49 notes polyphony. And as far as I can work out, it's completely fully polyphonic. Like every single key has its own thing, or envelope and filter and everything. We haven't really heard any mind-blowing demos of it yet, but it certainly looks amazing. Like 3 individual fully polyphonic synthesizers in a row. I mean, I mean,
the possibilities are just endless. And when you think about, things like the ARP and the Odyssey and the things you can do with those, and then this, I mean, I can see why it's going to be hand-built for people who
this is a thing.
One.
Yeah, I mean, apparently the Korg said that they're going to be built to order, and the price is going to be commensurate with that information. I mean, I don't know. I heard somewhere 12 grand, somewhere 15 grand. I'm not sure. 25 to 50. Yeah, they don't know, which is always a worry. But yeah, it looks pretty cool.
I mean, it's a piece of history.
Well, it's a very loved and like notoriously, unobtainium synth. It's interesting that these things are coming back and being remade. Actually, Synth of the Month is a little bit like that today. But yeah, just wondered what you thought about that. Are you going to get one? Do you have one? Some people might even have one in the chat. Anyway, very interested in that. So let's move on to number 5. So speaking of hand-built synths, I was very interested and also entertained by, Suit and Tie Guy's Musonics Vanilla. Now, apart from having slight internet chat confusion about how we spell his company's name, this looks really good, and it's again going to be hand-built by Suit and Tie Guy himself. As far as I know, he's just soldering them together himself, and they're going to be 2,500, I think. Is that the price?
That's incredible for a one-man operation making that. Is it just him?
$2,500 US.
That's less than a Moog.
Indeed, it is.
I mean, that's just mind-blowing.
And it's all batchable, but it's all normaled inside, so you don't need patch cables. So we've got, as Suit and Tie Guy said himself, it's like a 2600. It's kind of like it will work without patching, but then it will go together. Sounded really great. Really enjoyed Jim Hayward's demos of it as well. It was really nice to have that. So that's number 5 going on. And so sticking with the hand-built theme, this is the next one. Now, this is very eclectic, our list, actually. So
very unusual.
Really taken by this. The Days of Yore Tower Spring Reverb. Now, Days of Yore, I believe, are a Canadian company, and they're hand-building these, is it 42-inch springs?
Yeah, I think so. It's absolutely glorious. It looks like it's come off a sort of spaceship that was designed in the 1950s.
It certainly does.
It's just gorgeous.
There's a real Star Trek vibe. And speaking of science fiction, also the other product which they had was the Matrix mixer.
Yes.
Which, it's a Dalek. It's just it's sitting there.
Leans upwards like this. But they were saying, like, it looks quite big, but she said, they actually designed it to have a small footprint, like a normal mixer, so that all the stuff ascends vertically, so it won't take up too much space in the studio on your desk.
I mean, really, obviously, I'm well out of our price range. What is it, 3,600? Is that pounds or US dollars? I don't know. For the spring reverb, and
must be dollars.
2,600 for the Matrix mixer. So you have to be really in quite deep to be going there.
But I mean, what? Imagine, it's just you could have it in the room just being beautiful and then just play with it. And you'd have to be loaded.
I like the idea of having 42-inch springs around the house. I mean, just going... I mean, anyway.
It's lovely that, again, it's handmade. I think it's her and her partner that make these. Very, very cool.
Yeah. And while on the subject of effects, I literally... this just stuck out in my mind. It's the Poly Effects Polyverbs, which is what's it called? Convolution reverb in a pedal, with like all kinds of spaces built into it, including inside a nuclear reactor, and the longest reverb in the world, which they've
had to cut off at 46 seconds or something.
Somewhere in Scotland. Yeah. And you can put your own convolution impulses in there, and they don't have to be reverbs, they can be anything. And that looked pretty impressive to me.
They designed a really nice graphical manual for it as well, which I always like. There's a lot of thought gone into their design to make it easy to use.
Yeah, so, totally. Yeah, and it's $399, which I don't know, it sounds it's in sort of Strymon territory price-wise, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that was whoops, don't do that, do that. And now up to, sorry, this is running through very quick. Hold on, a little bit of a...
this is number 2.
The number 2 slot, and just mainly because a tiny bit mind blown by what these...
How are they doing this?
It's the Zoom H1, H4 and H6 Essentials, and they're priced at $99, $199 for the H4, and the H6 is $299. Using 32-bit float recording, which means you don't need to set the input gain, because it will just capture anything, no matter how quiet or how loud it is. And apparently, they claim it's impossible to clip.
Which is amazing.
I mean, I find that... I don't know how you feel about that. I feel disturbed.
I feel reassured.
I feel disturbed because you spend your life learning how to record things and get things just right.
Oh, you think the skills will be lost?
It feels a little bit like just hit record, and then, in post, you just boost it if it's too quiet and cut it down.
All right. People are going to lose those skills of being able to actually record audio properly.
Yeah. But have another little look at that, because there's no... I mean, the original Zoom H6, which we have, has got gain knobs on it, but that's got nothing. It just looks a bit...
I think, doesn't it? It does have a gain knob, doesn't it? For you can still make adjustments if you want.
Oh, for monitoring. No, for monitoring.
Just for monitoring.
I believe.
Oh, right.
I may be wrong, but that's just...
Yeah.
What a strange alien piece of technology, and actually maybe a little bit ugly.
Yeah, they look a bit sort of like 80s spaceships.
Yeah.
I'm equating everything in spaceships tonight.
And prepare to be surprised, because our number 1 choice, and sorry, Matt, it's not Stylophone. Although, the CPM DS2, you really did a fantastic demo of that. Sounded absolutely gorgeous. And what a beautiful thing. And it really bodes well for the future,
the
of what's coming out of your
area.
Thank you. Out of your area. But our number 1 choice is this. It's the Artinoise Recorder. Now, this is a wind controller, but it's not just a wind controller. It's actually a recorder. You can play it unplugged, and it functions exactly as a recorder. And it's got all kinds of amazing features. So it's got capacitive touch around all of the finger holes. It's got touch and motion sensitivity. And it was described as for anyone with breathing difficulties or any lung impairment, you don't have to blow it. You can switch it so that you just touch your lips and it will play. And you can, it's very much about including, being inclusive with everyone of every ability level and every...
It's just a wonderful vision. I mean, we all start with recorder in school, and he mentions this. I mean, in the East and the West, all throughout the world, people start as their first musical instrument in school is the recorder. And this gives you, no matter your ability, your possible limitations by your physical abilities, whatever they are, you can play this. You can even play it as a keyboard if you set it to keyboard mode.
Or Magic Wand mode, you can just wave it around. So it seems like a really interesting, useful... It's a MIDI controller, and it's relatively inexpensive. I mean, it's €149 at the moment. It's $199. But the guy, it's an Italian company. They're a very small company, so they're going up against the big hitters in the wind controller world.
Yamaha,
but they're aiming to get their prices down, because obviously they're going to try and up their production, and that will they'll pass the savings on to you.
But you can play. It comes with an app, and it's got practice mode and all sorts of different things. But you can select any number of instruments to play with it, which just. Can you imagine being a kid and you've got a recorder? Okay, maybe you like or you don't like the recorder. I'm going to turn it into a synth or a drum kit. You can play it like a drum kit or an accordion or a piano, whatever you want. Or a cello. They do violin, all sorts of stuff. Just a wonderful way to ignite kids' imaginations with music and make it accessible for them.
Yeah, and as you were saying it, but did you all play recorder at school? And I certainly did. And I have still have a horror memory of all the recorders coming out in a big Tupperware bucket full of some kind of disinfectant liquid, and you'd shake it off, and the music teacher would always say, "It's strawberry flavored today," and I go, "Ooh." No, it's not. That's bleach.
I don't think ours got disinfectant.
Hey.
That's for your immune system, kids.
Yeah, that was. That was our top 6. I mean, it's a very arbitrary list. We literally just sat down and went, "What's grabbed our attention the most?" And I really, as soon as I saw that recorder, I just thought that looks small, light. The fact it can be played without electronics as well is. It got me. Anyway, what do you think? You must have your own favourite things that showed up at NAMM, and I'm sure we've missed all of yours.
There was so much. It seemed like a good year, didn't it? I mean, NAMM's been a little bit quiet, certainly since COVID-19, and sort of bowing to the growth of other I want to say festivals, but trade shows. But Superbooth's almost like a festival, so it's nice to see it sort of bouncing back a bit this year.
Well, totally. Certainly from my end, where I was sat here at home, unfortunately, but watching everything, I felt like I was there. To be honest, it definitely felt a lot more lively than last year, for example. And it certainly, from Nick was saying, it feels a lot more full of life. Not so much modular stuff or small synth producers there at the moment. I guess because the price of the stands there are quite expensive, but they also went off to the Booklet and Friends event in downtown LA, and they saw a lot of stuff there. In fact, that's where they saw the 42-inch spring reverb, and that looked like a really great sort of vibe. It felt sort of like Bristronica. Was it Bristronica?
Yes.
Yeah,
the one that was on recently.
The one that was on recently. I've probably forgotten the name. I
think it was Bristronica, yeah.
It felt really nice, thrown together, sort of vibey, people getting together and doing their own things. Anyway, so, I mean, I haven't had a chance to look at your... No,
we're going to catch up on your chat during our pre-recorded segments, because there's so much. Yeah. We've still got stuff to share with you, like the new music.
Yes.
Are you going to... Don't look at the chat now. We'll look at it later.
I'm sorry. Yes, so we've got some new music for you, and I'll have to do some switcherizing.
Yeah, so first we want to share our good friends, the Office for Personal Development, have their debut album coming out on the 1st of March. Woo. Doing is thinking. And it's beautiful. In fact, maybe you want to hold it up if you can.
Yeah, so
they
it's
sent
available
us
on vinyl. We've got one here.
Whoa.
There it is. Beautiful. And just take it out. It's full of self-help paraphernalia. Can you hold that for me?
Yeah.
What else is in here? Yeah, we've got. Yes, there's a build your own OPD photocopier, which is there, and it's beautiful. It's this green vinyl. And there's various pamphlets.
I think of that as job centre green, but I suppose they're thinking of it as middle management green.
Well, I don't know. There's certainly, there's great. It's like fantastic pop tracks, synth pop.
Yeah, very sort of, if you're a fan of Pet Shop Boys, that sort of thing. It's like soaring male vocals over, twinkly synth
pounding fun. And it's and there's also that slight vibe of you've joined a cult.
Yes.
There you go.
In fact, you can, if you cut to my screen, they've got a new video out for that title track, Doing is Thinking, which you can watch on their YouTube channel. They've got a few there. Look, he's got all the hand movements, and they're literally recruiting people from within a mall. So, yeah, watch out. If you meet them in the flesh, they will take you on.
You will join them. And
soon you'll be thinking and doing.
Yes, that's OPD. So yeah, that's out on Friday the 1st of March. And also out on Friday the 1st of March is our good friend Grant's band Strange Gravity, and their album Music for the Metaverse is coming out.
Lovely.
We had a really extensive listen to this the other day, and it's simply gorgeous. I mean, I mean, at the risk of sounding like a music journalist, just saying what it sounds like, it's a sort of peak era Depeche Mode. Sorry. Goldfrapp, Lovely Head era, and the vocals. We've got sort of David Bowie vibes. We've got Scott Walker, Mad era Scott Walker vibes.
Really feels like sort of Next Day era Bowie, which in turn I suppose is Scary Monsters sort of era Bowie. It's just lovely.
Yeah, and as for the music, beautiful production, really lush, cinematic, drifting. I mean, there was some beautiful dark moments, and then bright, sharp, pounding moments. It's great. It's a really good album. If we've got their Bandcamp page,
yes, I've got to put those links in the chat. Sorry,
can we have a look? So can we see it? Can we?
No.
No, we can't see it.
I just showed you what I could show you.
Okay.
But it's not actually available for pre-order, that one. So you're just going to have to keep an eye on their Bandcamp.
Yeah, we'll drop the Bandcamp in. But their first album is up on Bandcamp.
Yes.
Is it not?
Which is also lovely.
Well, we've put the links in, so I thought we were going to cut to it, but
we did. We cut to the EPK already.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So there you go. That's two great albums for you coming up before the next BOOcast. And obviously they're both available on Bandcamp. So if you want to help them out, next Bandcamp Friday, knock yourself out.
Now, it might be a good idea to check them out because hopefully this year we are planning to do some gigs with those people.
Yes.
Those very people. We're kind of just penciling in dates at the moment, but things should start from about, summer to autumn. We're trying to plan some live shows for you.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely,
In fact, I've just been building little boxes with lights in to put synths on. I should have brought them out, but you can look forward to those.
It's a surprise. They're absolutely incredible.
I burnt my finger actually with hot glue.
Yeah.
But I'm okay. I'm okay now. Don't worry. It's fine.
But while we're kind of planning for those things.
Well, the theme seems to be the 1st of March, doesn't it?
It does. Oh. Something else is happening on the 1st of March.
Yes. It's the Sonic State EMOM number 4 is coming up on the 1st of March.
That's a Friday.
Prices are, I think it's $7.50 a ticket. There's going to be a load of great acts.
To be confirmed.
As usual with Sonic State, there's going to be a sort of standard EMOM for the first half, and then I think 2 headliners, and I believe they're yet to be announced.
Yes.
But that's coming up.
But if you want your music played during the live stream in the intervals, you can go there to the link, which I put in the chat, and submit your music to be played during the show.
Yes, this is a great thing. So have we got a link there going on?
I'll paste it in the chat.
So you can pop your music into the Sonic State suggestions box, and they will play it in the intervals between the songs.
There's also
between the bands, rather.
A link to the form to actually perform as well. So if you feel like performing or just being heard without being seen, there are 2 options there for you. So I'll put the link in the chat.
Yes. Okay, fantastic. And there are, I'm sorry, the chat's flown by. There are some other EMOMs coming up, which I saw earlier on, and unfortunately my brain isn't at what it used to be. But if you scroll back, you'll see them there. Or if you put them in again, get everyone to come and take part in
Wagyu
your
beat
EMOM.
me to it with the link. He's so quick. Thank you, Wagyu.
Thanks, Wagyu. And always there to be like on hand to help. How do you do it, man? You do this for so many people.
It's magic.
We owe you.
I think when we meet him, we'll discover he's got like 8 arms or something. Just briefly, I wanted to mention a very small newsy item this month. I think it was on the 30th. Universal Music Group posted a petulant little tweet about why we need to call time on TikTok. And they're purporting to sort of represent the artists and songwriter community. They say, TikTok is not reimbursing artists properly for the use of their music. They're proliferating AI. And
it's so good that a large company like that cares about
really
musicians.
Care. Well, they say, we will always fight for our artists and songwriters and stand up for the creative and commercial value of music. Bless their hearts. I just thought it was worth pointing out that, of course, is total... Do the sound.
Really, someone should be bending down to pick up something they've dropped when they do that. Ooh.
And what's really going on is just the fights between legacy companies like Universal Music Group, Sony, all those. I think there's like 3. Universal Music owns the songwriting rights, the publishing rights for like 40 million songs or something. Have I got that right? Anyway.
Sounds right.
It's a fight between them and Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley wants content to be free because then they can get people on their platforms and make lots of money out of ads. And all those legacy companies want IP to last forever, like the Mickey Mouse rule that means they can keep milking things long after artists are dead. And while they're alive, in fact.
Isn't Mickey Mouse...
He's free now, isn't he? You can do whatever you like to Mickey Mouse.
Free the rat. Fantastic.
But yeah, I just wanted to mention, don't
I can do that without
Universal
getting copyright struck anymore.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it from now. Yes.
If you're feeling blue, pretend to be Mickey Mouse. It's great fun.
I wouldn't recommend it. Especially, a good friend of ours has got a rat in his kitchen right now, so I don't think mice jokes are
mice
appropriate.
Aren't the same as rats.
Aren't they?
No.
I guess they're not. Just.
I was really confused when you said about a rat. I was like, what rat?
Yeah.
Oh, well. Anyway, that's all the news for now.
That's all the news. And we're going to have a little click back and have a peek at what you've been saying while we explore. What is it?
So it's a song story I have for you this month. And I've talked a little bit about this song on our Bandcamp subscription for the boosters, but I go into more depth here. And it's one of the first songs we ever did. So
yeah, I'm looking at the camera more so you can get a thumbnail.
Good work. Very professional. Fantastic. Oh, that's great. There'll be plenty in there. All right, let's have the song story.
Song stories. Here we go.
Oh, wrong one.
Wrong one. Oh, crikey.
That's all right.
What happened there?
You cut to my screen because I'm not usually... yeah, that's all right.
Bear with me a second. So
it'll be here in just a second. I'll have a look at the chat.
Here we go. Right, this is a proper start.
Here we go.
Stories.
In 2011, Boo wasn't even called Boo yet. We had recorded just one song together, a cover of He Hit Me and It Felt Like a Kiss. Chris had a few old demos kicking around and shared some of these with me. They had all been composed with various soft synths in making waves on his clunky old laptop. One in particular immediately transported me. It was called Diagram of a Human Eye, after a poster he'd seen on the Northern Line for some London museum. Just a placeholder title. Listening to the dusty blooping arpeggio and skittering percussion cantering over those warm chords, it spirited me away into 2 parallel tales. One of a young woman on the cusp of adulthood, about to venture into the wider world, but also of the Empire of Japan at the turn of the last century, once cloistered but suddenly facing inevitable intrusion from Western culture. This song taps into my deep love of Japan through history, poetry, and legend. To tell the story of this song, I have to share some of Japan's history with you. 16th century Japan was gripped by civil war. The old hierarchy of power was torn apart when the shogun, appointed by the emperor and based in Kyoto, lost influence over the daimyo, or local lords, and they began fighting between each other for control over Japan. At this time, Japan was very active at sea. The daimyo used piracy and free trade to consolidate arms and power, while battle-worn ronin and exiled Christians sought new lives abroad, even founding Nihonmachi, or Japan towns, in other countries. This all changed once Tokugawa Ieyasu reunified Japan under a single shogun rule. After his historic victory at the Battle of Sekigahara in 1600, he established a new capital in Edo, now Tokyo, marking the beginning of a 200-year period of peace and prosperity for Japan. To help maintain his power, Tokugawa introduced a foreign policy known as sakoku, which translates as locked country. Sakoku was a series of policies that essentially cut off contact between Japan and the rest of the world. No Japanese ship, nor any native of Japan, shall presume to go out of the country. Whoever acts contrary to this shall die, and the ship with the crew and goods aboard shall be sequestered until further orders. All persons who return from abroad shall be put to death. Sakoku had many benefits for Tokugawa. It restricted the ability of the daimyo to trade, which ensured they would never become powerful enough to challenge the shogunate. It hindered the destabilizing spread of Christianity and colonialism from the Spanish and Portuguese. And lastly, it enabled him to control commerce between Japan and other nations, collecting taxes and levies on the limited trade it did make with the Dutch and neighbours Korea and China. So, for over 200 years, visitors to Japan were generally either turned away or executed, while its own culture flourished in peace. This lasted until 1853, when US Commodore Matthew Perry sailed his kurofune, or black ships, into Edo Bay. These 4 heavily armed steamships made an intimidating display of Western technological advancements and naval power. Calling himself an admiral, Perry refused to obey Japanese orders to leave, and sent word that if Japan did not accept delivery of his letter from the president via an envoy, he would deliver it by force if necessary. Japan had no choice but to accept his letter. Within 15 years, what became known as the unequal trade agreements were made with the US and other countries, forcing an end to Sakoku and to the Edo period, with the eventual restoration of the emperor, Meiji. To me, this tale of Japan hiding from the rest of the world to nourish itself and develop echoed the quiet preparation of a girl alone in the country, growing into adulthood, becoming ready to explore the world. Once the knowledge of that wider world is uncovered, there is no going back. With all this swirling around in my head, the lyrics for the song came to me quickly. I wanted to include some Japanese lyrics at the beginning, something of the girl's thoughts drifting around. I knew basic Japanese, but I couldn't say much more than, "How are you?" So I searched for something appropriate and discovered Rin Ishigaki's poem, Plucking Flowers.
東京丸の内で摘み草をした。昭和は10年代の初め、私は10歳代の中頃。銀行へ通う出勤の道すがら、袴の裾を翻し、歩道の脇をちょっと駆け上ると原っぱが開けた。クローバー、タンポポ、ハルジョーン。職場の机に飾るには貧弱すぎる野の花だった。あれからおよそ半世紀、ビルディングが戦火で燃え上がる日もあったが、戦後の東京駅周辺は経済成長の伸びをグラフにしたような新しい高層建築群である。私は定年退職したけれど、小学校での少女を受け入れる会社はもうないだろう。女性も市場価値が問われ、襟分けられる。ついに野の花ではありえない日を迎えて、競い咲く。さようなら丸の内、今はどこにもない原っぱ。かって握りしめた細く青い花茎。あれは私自身の首でした。
This poem perfectly encapsulates all the promise of the future before the destruction of war and disillusionment of adulthood. I didn't want to focus too much on the latter part of the poem. For me, this song was all about that feeling of a liberating and untold future about to begin after being isolated and locked away in childhood for so long. She yearns for freedom, and in her mind she's already gone. The final piece of this song is a reference to a favourite childhood book of mine, The Legend of Urashima Taro. It's a myth about a man who rescues a sea turtle from some cruel children who are toying with it. The turtle takes him to an underwater palace where he is entertained by Princess Otohime. After spending what he thinks has been just a few days there enjoying the wonders of the palace, he tells the princess he must get back home to care for his elderly mother. The princess doesn't want him to leave, but she lets him go, giving him an ornate box to protect him, telling him he must never open it. When he returns to his village, he discovers that over 100 years have passed and all he knew is gone. In his desolation, he opens the box and is flooded with all the experiences of his magical visit to the palace. The taste of peaches, the colourful dancing fish, the exquisite rooms of the palace. And as the memories ripple through him, he ages all those years that have passed until he perishes into dust. The lyrics, "If you look back, you'll forget what you said," are a direct reference to that tale, and to not looking back once a decision has been made, because it could corrupt your resolve, or even destroy you completely. A song can be like that box that Otohime gave to Taro. It can unlock a complete sensory experience connected to a lifetime of history and memory. Great songs do this even when you don't know what they're about. You can feel its riches unfold through you like magic. Sparrow Dance was the first Boo song I remember experiencing that with, and it still does this to me today.
Thank you, Bridget. That was great.
Thank you. Oh, a lovely tip from Gary G in the chat. Ever read The 1,000 Autumns of Jacob de Zoet by David Mitchell? It's set in the Dutch enclave of Dejima during Sakoku. That would be interesting, actually. It's always fascinated me, that period, because although Japan was locked away and they did do very limited trade, there was quite a flow of information between the Dutch and Japan. I think there was a lot of stuff on anatomy and things, medicine that the Dutch brought over, which was pretty cool. But yeah, it's just it was one of those songs we did it so long ago. I can't remember much about the process of recording it, but I just remember how it made me feel, and it just tapped into all of those memories for me. Yeah.
I think it may have even been a Katzen song originally, but it was just before we started making music together.
There were a few of those, weren't there?
Yeah.
Dare you divulge any others, or are they secret?
I can't remember.
Wishlist was a Katzen one, wasn't it?
Was it?
Oh, it was a song that Katzen didn't do.
Yeah. So it's important not to bin your old stuff.
Yeah.
This is a message which will become ever so important very shortly as I tell you something.
Oh, yes.
Coming up.
Yes, it will.
But yeah, thank you very much for that. That was quite touching and beautiful.
Thanks.
An amazing poem.
Yeah. It was so silly. When I read that poem aloud to record it, I was recording it myself first. I actually started crying when I finished the end, because poetry does something very powerful when you read it aloud. It's,
Has to be spoken.
Yeah.
Yeah, good work.
Amazing. A Division I liked, he said, should have called it the Stylodrone. the drone sense.
Hey!
Very good. And also said Anthony Marinelli's video is the best yet on the Korg PS.
Right, I haven't actually checked that one out yet, so yeah, we'll check that out. Yes.
Also about NAMM, Wagyu says he loves the Zoom H1 Essential because you can take it anywhere in the pocket of your jeans, but losing the mic cage ruins all of that. So, yeah.
Can you not get a replacement?
You need to super glue it on. Oh, we've discovered a great new glue. If you don't know about it, UV glue. Vondic is the official brand. But
I sat on my glasses and broke them, and they are now fixed. You wouldn't even have noticed.
Really good for plastics. Very good.
Yeah, marvellous stuff.
Shall I go through some more comments, or do you want to move on to?
Just thinking, speaking of the H6, when I record my synth of the month, so which is there's a synth of the month coming up in a minute. I often get a lot of hum on my headset mic.
Yes.
And I discovered something. It's the H6. I wrapped some bare copper wire around the microphones, because I plugged my headset mic into the little microphone input on the side and get power that way. And then I run the cable and put it down the back of my trousers, so it's making contact with my bottom, and that seems to solve the hum.
What can't your bottom do?
Is that the first time? Is that the first time a bottom has stopped a hum in history? But I couldn't work it out. There's some kind of earth thing going on, but I seem to have solved it. So
strange.
Interesting. Wonder if any of you have any of those problems as well.
And workarounds. interesting other workarounds.
But yeah, so yes,
yeah, a couple more. Wagyu also mentioned that doesn't normally enjoy Recorder, but the Shitty Flute YouTube channel is very entertaining for the cover songs of bad recorders.
Sounds like my kind of YouTube channel.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to check that out.
Awesome.
Some also other people's highlights of NAMM. Thomas Yon really liked the Ricky Tynes Electron, was mind blowing.
Yeah.
Andrew Kay is excited about the, I don't know how to say it. Is it ELTA or ELTA music? So 442. I can't read my own writing. I didn't see that one. I'm sorry, Andrew. We're gonna have to look it up. ELTA music.
Don't think we.
Sol 442. I think it is.
I'll have to go and check that
out.
Yeah. Yes. What do you think about the stainless steel Electron boxes and the inclusion in one of each model of the silver stainless steel ones of a stainless steel function button, which, if you find it, you're going to get untold riches and prizes from the Electron people. What is this? It's like,
I like that. That's a nice Easter egg.
Willy Wonka style.
Yes.
I got a silver button. Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah. I don't have any Electron stuff. Peter is very much an Electron. Hello, Peter, if you're watching.
Yes, he is.
We may be seeing you later. Do try and sell me some Electron stuff. But yeah, so it's that time of the show. We want to say thank you to all you boosters out there. Thank you so much for all your support. It's
thank you.
Endlessly encouraging, beautiful, lovely to have you there. And to say thank you to you, we've got 2 things going up today, and they've actually gone up already. The first thing is, well, I mean, we've got the stems for Sparrow Dance, which are now in you've got a message with a link to the Google Drive, and you can take those and play with that song if you wish. And we've had a lot of lovely remixes from you guys before, which we'll talk about. I mean, we'll come to that in a second. There's lots of lovely stuff in the Discord. Thank you so much. It's always really exciting and lovely to get something pop up and you go, oh, okay, let's listen to this. Fantastic, beautiful stuff. So there's that. But also, we haven't got an EP this month. We've got a full C90 cassette for you, which is called BIP, and it's by me in 1996. And oh dear, it's a bit of I'm sharing this. Only 3 people got copies of this cassette. In fact, I can show you it here. Let's have a look. So there's the cassette. There's my original copy. Well, you know what a cassette looks like.
Yeah, but you made the cover like you're supposed to.
No, it's all right.
I
yes,
love it.
Of course I did. I had a dot matrix printer. And
does anyone remember that brand? What is it? That's
yes. I used to get those. They were a bit cheaper than TDK, and they seemed all right actually. So I've put that up, and not in any way, as I say, because it's. I mean, it's got some sort of memory power for me. It was recorded in 1 week. I basically was ill and I was locked in the house, and I went, right, I'm going to fill up a C90 with music, and it's the whole thing. I think it starts off a bit disorganized and a bit crazy, and it sort of slowly sorts itself out towards the end. But if you do download it, I mean, if you download it, you don't like it, bin it. It doesn't weigh anything. It's not occupying any physical space in your life. So please feel free to have it. It's 24-bit. I mean, obviously it's a cassette, and it was recorded on a Tascam Porta 1. So, I mean, I think it's 13K is the maximum high frequency we can get out of one of those things. But it's there. And if you do download it, do read the album description that I've written, because there's a little story about it, and it's, it just gives you some context and something to read while you're going.
All these bonus things you get when you're a booster. You maybe want to show our booster page, which is basically just subscribe to us on Bandcamp. It's like £3 a month or more if you wish. But you get loads of stuff. You get access to all our music that we've ever released and new stuff as it comes out. And you also get all these subscriber-only releases. My God, there's loads there now. What is that? Is that 12? Can I add right? Is that 16? That's 16.
That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, all sorts of stuff that nobody else gets, and of course we post things that nobody else gets to see, like cocktail recipes,
aviation,
anecdotes, behind the scenes stuff, stories. So if you want to help support us doing this stuff, it's a good way to do it. And thank you to those who do.
And those of you that are. And if you manage to support us for 6 months, you get a Boo Peter badge.
I think there are 3 going out this month.
Yes. So congratulations to those of you. You've achieved Boo Peter badge status. Yes. If you meet another Boo Peter badge wearer in the street, do make sure you do the secret handshake and buy each other a coffee or something. Because
we do a special ceremony when we meet the Boo Peter badge wearers. But what can they do together?
Well, they can do anything they like. I mean, we're not monsters.
A ghost handshake or something. That looks like the swim.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for all your support. It's really, really helpful. It's great stuff. And there you go. There's more for you to listen to. I'd love to hear what you think. And also, if you don't feel like you can afford to support us or don't want to be part of this kind of weird cult thing, you can always join our Discord, which is free, and inside our Discord you'll find loads of great stuff. For example,
we have the Listen to This thread where Warren Harrison has shared some awesome music recently by his band Studio 2, and just I quite enjoyed this video actually. It's
can we play it? Are we going to get copyright struck?
We may. But
just play a
he's
little bit.
Used AI for it, but it really works because it's it's robots and children, and it has a very ska-folky vibe. I don't know if you know about ska-folk, Warren Harrison, but if you don't, check it out because this is very ska-folky vibes to me. And thank you for sharing that. It's brilliant. And not only that, this month we had Andrew W. shared some Stupid Name Group stuff as well. And
it's really good
we love
stuff.
Hearing what you guys are doing.
It's really nice.
Especially your remixes, like Chris said, that's always a treat.
I think the Warren Harrison thing, it sort of straddles the melancholy / creepy as hell vibe thing, which is, it's a good trick if you can manage it.
Oh, have you noticed? I was looking at film reviews recently, and Google started putting AI 3-word summaries, and everything I was putting in, it was like gloomy, dark, intimidating. I was like, oh man, AI can be good and bad. It's what we do with it, isn't it?
I don't think it has any concept of negative connotation to certain words.
No,
it doesn't have much knowledge of anything actually.
But there are so many great films, or achievements in cinema are very bleak films. Don't you find you forget a list of like greatest films, and a lot of them are like, this one will tear you apart.
We love a bit of dark. We went to see Poor Things the other week. It was quite entertaining.
It was very fun and silly. Enjoyed
a little bit like a sort of Disney princess film, but with lots of sex. It's quite
and a bit more feminist. I mean, she doesn't exactly ride off with a prince.
Yeah, it was really feminist.
Yeah, well, kind of. It's good fun. It's a laugh. It's a romp. I wouldn't say it's great art. It's just pretty and fun, enjoyable. Exactly what the movie's all about. It's very appropriate.
That's my one sound review of Poor Things. So yes, are we done?
We're done. I mean, we're not done. We're ready for the big event.
Okay,
Synth of the month.
It's Synth of the Month. Possibly the greatest synth ever made. Question mark.
Not controversial, I don't think.
I had a lot of fun with this, but I don't actually know if I've done it justice, but I did my best. Please don't judge me too harshly. Here we go. Synth of the Month. No. Yes. The BOOcast Synth of the Month is the ARP 2600. This is Alan R. Perlman, electrical engineer extraordinaire, who, after working for NASA designing op-amps and extremely precise radiation detectors, went on to found Tonus, soon to be renamed ARP, after his own initials with which he signed his blueprints. ARP's first instrument, the 2500, was a modular monster, which makes a memorable appearance in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where at the climax of the film it is instrumental in communicating with the alien mothership. Their next creation was this, the 2600. Designed to be more affordable than the 2500 and with its semi-modular design, more portable, more easily programmable, and was emblazoned with a front panel design intended to make sound synthesis clear to anyone lucky enough to touch it. And in fact, many 2600s ended up in schools and universities, as well as in the hands of Herbie Hancock, Stevie Wonder, Edgar Winter, Pete Townsend, Daniel Miller, Depeche Mode, Add N2X. The list goes on and on. The 2600 even gave R2-D2 his voice. It seems like the science fiction world could tell that there was a little piece of NASA inside this revolutionary machine. Ooh. So, first of all, I'd like to say thank you to Simon Forsyth for lending me his Korg 2600M. This is the first time I've ever actually put my hands on a real ARP 2600. The only contact I've had with this incredible synthesizer is through the software version by Wayoutware, the Time Warp 2600. But here it is in the flesh, and even in its 2/3 original size version as it is here, it's quite an overwhelming collection of controls, isn't it? I mean, look at this. Feels like I've been asked to land a 747 or bring an RBM K1000 reactor under control. But as you'll see, it's actually a lot simpler than it looks. And in fact, well, let's have a quick overview. So we have 3 oscillators, 1, 2, 3, with these controls here. As you'll see, the oscillators are not duplicates of each other. They're actually quite different. We have the filter with its mixer and the 2 envelopes here, and the VCA here with its various inputs, and a spring reverb, and an audio mixer, and various controls for stereo and stuff. And down here we have a thing which is rather disturbingly called the voltage processor, and a sample and hold unit, and noise here. So what is this? It's a 3 oscillator, 1 filter, 2 envelopes, no LFO. This is a bit like a mini Moog, isn't it? Let's listen to these oscillators. So the first oscillator that shows up in the mixer is VCO1. Let's push that up in the filter, open the filter up, and then how do you get sound out of it? So you need to bring up the VCF into the amplifier and bring up one of the envelopes. So there we go. So this is VCO1, which is by default a square wave, and the pitch of VCO1 is controlled here. Very, very wide range. But there is a fine-tune control. Synthesizer manufacturers, please take note. This is so useful and helpful when you're trying to get it actually in tune. And we also have a switch here which brings it from keyboard control, turns the keyboard off and puts it into low frequency mode, which is LFO. Basically, the tuning and the low frequency mode switches are the same for all 3 oscillators. Let's listen to oscillator 2. So just turn down 1 and bring up 2. Now on oscillator 2, again, we get the pulse, but in oscillator 2, we get a pulse width control. And then oscillator 3 gives us a saw. So let's bring these together. So we can get massive 3 oscillator sounds. Let's bring these all into tune with each other. On this Korg 2600M we have the low pass filter, which is a 24 dB low pass filter, which gives us tuning control at the top and fine tune. Even fine tune for the filter, which is useful because by default the filter is set to track the keyboard. Bring the resonance up. So we can bring up that, and I'm just going to bring up the envelope here. Bring up this envelope. So here we've got 1 oscillator and the filter in self-resonance. Oh, let's bring up the others. that's the filter, which went through its own revisions. The oscillators went through several revisions through the life of the 2600, as did the filter. The first one was basically a copy of the Moog ladder filter, replaced it with the 4074 filter, which was always a little bit darker, and that's emulated here. Well, they sound different anyway. So far you see 3 oscillators and a filter and 2 envelopes. I mean, you could say this is Moogie until you look here underneath all of the underneath everything. But let's start with the oscillators. Each of these sliders is a modulation source. So for example, let's just look at oscillator 3. Push this slider up. So here we see oscillator 3 is just by the pushing of one slider gets modulated by oscillator 2. Push another slider and it's modulated by the envelope. Push another slider and it gets modulated by noise. This is all on the front panel without any patching. Straight away we're in modulation land. All of the oscillators are like this. So oscillator 1 gives you sample and hold. Let's pop down here. What sample and hold does is it takes a noise signal, which we get from here, push it up to white, and it takes a snapshot at a set series of times, which is determined by this clock, which I can also use it to trigger the envelopes. Let's just do that so you can see the speed. This is what the white noise sounds like. What the sample and hold circuit does is it's got a little clock here, which we can speed up and slow down. There we go. So that at those intervals, it's sampling the white noise, and whatever, because white noise is a random signal, each time it samples it, it's a different value, and it passes that value over to here. So let's listen to oscillator 1, and we'll just put the modulation level up. So there we go. It does that classic computer noise thing here. And does it with all of them. That's oh no, we can't do it on the third one. So great, huh? And we can also modulate oscillator 1 by the ADSR. So that's clearly asking to be turned into a drum sound. Let's put some white noise in there. And we can also modulate it with VCO2. VCO2 we have, again, sample and hold. We have ADSR. We can be modulated by the square of VCO1, which should slow it down. Useful. We also have pulse width modulation. Now, this is the first of the strange design choices that ARP made back in 1971, which is that the source for the pulse width is noise, which gives you that effect, which is quite odd. For example, I mean, what you really want pulse width is to do this kind of thing. Maybe put a sine wave in there. So, is there a sine wave on this thing? Yes, there is. But it's on VCO2, which is another... Yeah, but if we want to get another signal into there, what we can do is patch it. So you take a lead, you put a patch lead in here, it breaks that connection to the noise generator that's already there, and now it's looking for something to come in here. And what we can give it is the square wave from oscillator 1. Let's give it that. There isn't a sine wave that we can give it. We can give it its own sine wave, but that's just too fast to be noticeable. Give it the sawtooth from 3. That's a bit better, I suppose. But what we really want to do is to get some kind of like sine wave or triangle wave into here, and this is where the voltage processor comes in. So to get a triangle to modulate your pulse width modulation, you take your square out of here, you put it into the bottom of the voltage processors, you take another lead, take the output from this bottom voltage processor and put it into the modulator. slot on oscillator 2. Now what we've got here, we've still got our square, but this gives us a lag control, which is a sort of rounding off of the edges. It's a bit like slew, actually. In fact, I wonder if slew is just a different word for the same thing. Probably is. So we rounding off the edges of this square wave. You can hear that's quite sharp at the moment. And there we go, that's a little bit better. Speed it up a bit. So there's a rather good pulse width modulation sound. This is the beauty of it. There is almost limitless patching that can go on between any of these modules in here. You can get anything to do anything to anything else, just about, which is rather special. So even without putting patch leads in, there is so much audio rate modulation goodness. And actually, while we're here, let's now engage the dual spring reverb units, and these are real spring reverbs inside this. Oh, it sounds so good. Talking about modulation, straight into the filter we've got VCO2 modulating. Which gives us all of this loveliness without any patching. Yes, okay, so let's have a look at the VCA. So at the moment I'm putting the attack release envelope into the VCA. This gives us an, turn that off, an organ type amplitude envelope, but we can have attack and release only. But if I wish, I can put the ADSR into the VCA. And by default the ADSR is linked to the filter, which is kind of why I like to put the AR into the amplifier so that we get all that beautiful resonance coming through. Ooh, yes. It just sounds so bloody good, doesn't it? As I say, this is the first time I've ever really had a real one in front of me. Quite a treat. So let's go back to this sample and hold unit here. So I'm going to modulate oscillator 2 with the sample and hold. Let's just tune it up a bit. Here we go. As I said, what the sample and hold does is it's sampling the white noise, giving us a random value each time this thing takes a snapshot of the white noise. And we do have a choice of noise. We've got white, pink, which sort of tones down the range, and low frequency, which I suppose is brown. They're trying not to say brown noise here. I have no idea why they didn't want to say brown noise. But there we go, we've got this. But we don't have to put white noise into here, and a nice thing to do is, instead of white noise, we'll put the sawtooth from oscillator 1 in and put it on low frequency mode. And there it is. So what this does is it's sampling the sawtooth as it comes up, and so we're getting a stepped glissando type thing. But I'll change the speed. We get quite melodic little patterns coming out of it. Amazing. And as we go faster and faster, you find those sweet spots where it's... I mean, I could get lost here for, like days. I'm just going to set this envelope to be triggered by the internal clock. Let's try the square. So that's interesting. So the square wave has only got two values. It's not got a slope like the sawtooth, so it's jumping between those two values. We're almost in the land of rhythm here, aren't we? Let's put this onto... In fact, we can have both. The thing about going into the VCA, we can have both the ADSR and the AR at the same time, so we can give ourselves a little bit of extra transient pluck at the beginning there. It's pretty good. Put some white noise in. We've got a ring modulator at the end here, which will, as default inputs, are VCO1 and VCO2. So let's just turn up both of them and bring that up. But we can obviously put anything we like in. So I'm going to put VCO3 into VCO1. Quite interesting tuning there. So the sample and hold is coming out of there. I'm going to split this sample and hold signal. So we've already got it coming in here. Let's split it just for some fun. We can put it into this multiple, which allows us to make copies of that sample and hold signal. And we'll put it somewhere else. Let's put it in the... It's a bit loud. Put it in the... Oh wow, that's lovely. I think we've got some half-decent, weird, metallic bongos here. And as if that wasn't enough, we can also modulate each of these, well... Oh yeah, it's possible to get lost like a mad. Let's put up the reverb. In fact, let's not bother doing that. Let's lag it up. So I'm going to take the SH out, put it into the multiple, get a copy of itself. Take that out, put it into the slew or the lag generator. Let's put it into here. Yeah, okay. Pretty nice hi-hat. Okay, stop. Yes, that's called getting carried away. So up here we have an audio in section, which is what Pete Townsend used to do all those guitar-y choppy noises on whatever that song was, and it's also what R2D2 was made using. I'll get onto that in a sec if I can. But you can also make this thing duophonic. So Tom Oberheim was originally a stockist. Originally sold these, and he designed a keyboard which allowed you to make it duophonic, and you can do that with this one as well. So it's basically what you can do on the Odyssey, which came a year after this. allowing you to play duophonically. It is possible to play 3 notes at a time, but I have no idea how you do that. It's also possible to use the ring modulator as a VCA, so you take, for example, an envelope input into it, and then we can take noise coming out. Where's the noise? Noise, please. There we go. Put it into the other one. Push them both up, and then take the output from the ring modulator and put it into... Oh no, it's already there, silly me. The output from the ring modulator shows up here. So we've got a... Just for example, we've got a filtered... I can put unfiltered noise in there now, which is controlled by the envelope. So it's responding to differences. It's an exclusive OR gate. There you go. Let's get some electronics in here. That's how this ring modulator works. It's the same as the ring modulator on the Odyssey, and its peculiarities are that it responds to changes. So when the signal is changing, then you get signal. But any electronics engineers in the audience, please feel free to correct me. But the interesting thing is when you lift your finger off the key, you get to hear the kickback of the white noise as you lift your finger off. In fact, I can show you on this key. Hear that? That's all because this is interacting with the ring modulator, working as a VCA. So there are probably a million things I've missed. You can, of course, put an external signal in and use it to be chopped up by the filter and all kinds of things, but you can also use the external signal to control pitches, which is how the voice of R2-D2 was made. I'm going to try and do that now. Here we go. So that's how Ben Burt made the noise of R2-D2. So there's a microphone coming in here, and it's going into the envelope follower, which is controlling the pitch of oscillator 2 and the level into the VCA. And there's ring mod set up between oscillator 1 and 2, and that's kind of how it works. Oh, and there's some sample and hold happening in oscillator 1, which is... Whoa. And in an interview, Ben Burt said it was one of the most difficult things he had to do. He had to create a voice for this little robot, R2-D2, which was capable of acting alongside Sir Alec Guinness, for example, without using any words. So I think he did a great job. And you can just hear my voice coming through, can't you? Ha 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 ha! Yes. Whoa! I am become R2-D2. So that's the ARP 2600, or the Korg ARP 2600M. Oh my goodness, I mean, I can't even begin to scratch the surface of this thing, because it's just so incredible. I mean, it's basically limitless. Oh, here in this patch, I've taken the trigger from the incoming sequence from the KeyStep Pro and taking the trigger out and turning that into the clock. So the clock is now modulating the filter with a sample and hold, but timed with the incoming keys. Yeah, okay, it's difficult to talk while this is going on. So that's the ARP 2600.
Thank you very much for watching.
Thank you so much for watching that.
What a dreamy,
and see
delightful world.
Simon's in the audience. Thank you very much. Bless your heart for lending me that. Again, I haven't had much time with it, so I literally limitless. It could go for forever on that thing. I did have an ARP axe in my previous band. My bandmate had an ARP axe, which I got for very cheap, and it was broken. And confession time, I took it to GAC and sold it to them and gave them a demo while it was clearly not working. And just went, like, listen to that sound there.
Oh, no.
And listen to this. And the guy went, oh, all right then. And he bought it off me. And I heard later that they had to spend about 400 quid fixing it.
Oh, my God.
Which is a lot less than they bought it from me for.
Cheeky.
Still, there we go. They've had enough of my money over the years.
Yes, we've certainly paid them back many times over.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Wagyu was saying he's got 2 BARPs, the Behringer ARP, which is racked with 12U of 2500 module Euro rack in between.
Amazing.
Like,
no, it sounds great. But the interesting thing about the Behringer ARP 2600 is Oscillator 3 is basically a copy of Oscillator 2, so you don't have that problem where Oscillator 3 has a sine wave, and it can also do pulse width modulation as well, whereas I believe. So is it better than, is it an improvement? Who knows? I mean, I know, Simon, you had the BARP, and you got rid of it and got this one. So I mean, you've got a better what's the word, overview of them both. You've
seen both sides of the coin.
Both sides of the coin.
It's gorgeous. It's amazing. What a world to go
into.
Yeah,
it's lovely. It's terrible because once again, I've got quite a few synths here on loan from people with a view for doing Synth of the Month with, and I always feel like, I mean, it takes me about a year and a half, maybe 2 years of playing with something to really understand it properly.
Yeah.
And I always hold off. I can't fall in love with this thing. The good news is, though, that the Korg 2600M is currently, it's dropped in price recently. I think it's about 1,200 quid, pounds, which is a lot less than it used to be. I think it was 1,700. It used to be 1,700 when it first came out. I think it's dropped quite a lot.
It's a reasonable price for a timeless classic.
Off.
I mean, speaking of other synths, I mean, the synth that I had written so poorly that I couldn't remember what it was the Solar 42 at NAMM.
Right. Yes.
And I mean, we've actually got the Solar 50 here.
Yes, I'll just show you. There's the Solar 42. We've got this on loan.
Which is the predecessor to the 42.
And it's a confusing beast. 50 oscillators and touch plates, no MIDI, very confusing outputs.
They say that on the website. They say, in fact, it is easy to use, even though it looks complicated.
Well, maybe it is easy to use. So maybe I'm just an idiot.
Knobs.
But no, it's just that each one of those is just another oscillator. Well, each one of these is a bank of 5 oscillators.
Oh, okay.
I can't get anything sensible out of it at the moment. If I do, I'll get back to you.
It needs more time.
We've got something else as well. Speaking of heavy white slabs, thank you, Simon. I've also got something else on loan.
Oh, this looks like fun.
We've got the Ample.
Love a Matrix.
Which I'm very excited by. I've got to work out how to send trigger notes. It's MIDI note 0 goes into Tom Carpenter's synths to trigger them off. So it's like a sort of described as a greatest hits of analog solutions. It's got the, I can't remember where the oscillators and the filters come from. Actually, Simon, tell me in the chat because I've forgotten. But this is from the, what was the red thing called? The razor? No.
I can't remember the red thing. I remember the black thing, the impulse command.
Literally, this is what happens when I hold synthesizers.
The impulse command knobs.
Impulse command, that's it. The impulse command sequencer. It's got the, what's that? Oh,
is it a patinator from a fuse box?
Patinator from fuse box. Oscillators from, come on, Simon. Tell me what it is. Simon's playing in Folkestone with Martin, if anyone is free.
They're having another conversation. It's not about the Ample. You have to do a video.
Hey, hoi! Hey, you lot! Never mind. I'll put it away.
It's interesting, though. It says it was inspired by early electronic musical instruments from the 40s, the 20s and 50s, notably the harmonium by Leo Theremin.
Harmonium?
Yes. Apparently.
Interesting. Yes.
Yeah.
Does it sound good? I mean, I think the Solar 42 might be a little bit more controllable than the Solar 50, possibly.
They say it's an improvement.
Yeah.
They tried to improve on it.
Yeah.
Andrew Brooks just mentioned the That's tapes, remembers them well. They were great.
They were great, weren't they?
Put out a collection of his own old unreleased music and thought it sounded really good.
Well, come on. This is something I've been meaning to do for years. So you're a digital era lady, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
So the sad thing about our digital era friends, our millennial friends, is that most of their early recordings tend to not be available to play. They disappear. They get eaten in hard drives or something. But us types that used to use tape have probably still got our first recordings. I have the very first song I ever recorded in 1981. And I think this is a case of, if you show me yours, I'll show you mine. Perhaps we could start sharing these early recordings. As you'll see from the tape I've given you, it's a full C90 of audio, and it's got some merits, but it's definitely a bit of
an exploration.
An embarrassing thing to share, though, because we want everyone to think we're great and geniuses, and you don't really want to share our mistakes.
I think it is great. I think you should make it public.
But I think that would be nice. If you've got tapes of your stuff and you don't mind sharing them, pop them on the Discord. And maybe we should put some kind of compilation.
And you don't have to put it up on Bandcamp. You could just upload an MP3 to the chat or put it as a private SoundCloud link or whatever. It doesn't have to be too much of a commitment. It's great. It's really nice hearing those early experiments and what you found sonically interesting and what you were trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my earliest recordings, they're gone, but they're really bad MIDI library sounds off an what are they called? I want to say Alexis, the M Audio controller, Axiom, the Axiom 61. And I was playing really embarrassing, emotive classical stuff, pseudo-classical.
I bet it's gorgeous. But yeah, what was I going to say? Yes, I can't remember who asked because it's gone by, but somebody asked me about the kit list for the tape that I've put up.
Yes,
and it's the full kit list is on the album description, but it's basically a Juno 6, an SH1, and 2 SK5 Casio SK5 samplers, and a copycat, and a DR660 drum machine. There you go.
Yep.
You bet you can almost hear it. Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I just deflated my chair by accident. There we go. Up again.
Welcome back. And we're back in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we'd love to see that. Actually, somebody said something. Andy mentioned Daniel Miller bought his ARP off Elton John, and without it there'd be no Depeche Mode. And he also mentioned a release of a band on mute. I can't read it again. I start counting. I've released something on tape. Releasing stuff on tape is really popular now.
Yeah.
It reminded me.
Yep.
We rewatched 101 in HD.
Oh yeah, it was great.
The Depeche Mode
really nice
tour
to see
film, and it was amazing. It was just so good to see it in HD on the big screen.
It's strange because I had a sudden Depeche Mode need, and we watched that. Had some Mode playing as well, and Brian Griffin passed away just about a week ago. So he's the guy that did all the great photos for all those early Depeche Mode albums. That was very sad to hear.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just started smiling because I was thinking how good the film was. It's a brilliant film. If you're at all interested in music documentaries, I mean, of course, we all like Depeche Mode here, probably. But if you don't, check it out as a music film, because they get basically a bunch of teen fans to go on tour with them, and it documents their journey as well as the band's.
Pretty sure everyone's seen it.
Well,
but if you haven't seen it for a while, it's worth going back and have another look.
Again.
It really was great fun to watch again. And it's a really brilliantly made film.
Yeah, beautifully
really
shot.
David Pennebaker and
some epic live
Chris
performances
Hedges.
As well, especially when you think, I mean, what were they, 21 or 22 at that time? They were pretty young.
They might
maybe younger?
No, they might have been late 20s, 27, 28.
Oh, okay.
God.
Still, it's a good show, man.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Anyway, what have we got here? So, is there any more chats?
Oh no, I mean, I think I've kept up with it pretty well. I did one thing. Prometheus said, don't forget to gig around the Guildford-Farnborough area. We'd love to. If you can hook us up, if you know somewhere we could play, or like, yeah, we were lucky after the last BOOcast, someone got in touch with us about a possible show, and it was like, great, we'll do that, thank you.
Possible festival. So
yeah, we don't know who to reach out to
that.
in all these places across the UK. So if you have any connections or any recommendations of people we should talk to, other bands, bookers, anything like that, let us know, because our goal this year is to bring more music to you live, especially over summer and autumn. So yeah, let us know if you got any tips. We're keen to bring it to you.
Thanks a lot. Don't want to beg.
No, just like, if you know something, that's useful.
Well, I think we're going to get started on some new stuff soon. We can feel the
Yes.
feel the itch happening. It's been playing on the piano has been the starting point at the moment.
Yeah, you've got a good thing
it's
going
all
on there at the
happening.
moment.
Oh, it's all going on, and also making little boxes to do things with.
Yes.
But yeah, we've got all that coming. So don't forget to check out those bands that we mentioned earlier on. Don't forget to check out the EMOM. Don't think we're going to make it this time. We're going to definitely try to make the next one, which won't be too long. They've got such a heavy workload, those Sonic State guys.
I'm amazed they're launching into an EMOM right after NAMM. It's like, wow, stop and take a breath, guys.
I know.
It's incredible.
I know. And they've
They're
all
machines.
got NAMM tracks. And as Matt, you were saying you picked up something out in the States. It's like, it's always flying and...
So definitely buy tickets if you're planning on going, because that helps them with planning it all. And get along down there. It's a great night.
Yes. So I think that's a show, isn't it?
Yeah, I reckon so. As always, we're about half an hour over, so that's great.
Crikey.
We've got loads of stuff. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. It's always great to see you.
Yeah, it's really nice, and thanks for being in the chat. We'll go back and have a look over the stuff we missed and take notes. And hope you're all very well. Have a great February. How do you pronounce
I say February.
February.
I don't know if that's right.
February.
Is that the London way?
I don't know. I think so, yeah. What an annoying spelling. But it's a leap year, so we've got one more day of February.
Happy Lunar New Year, Chinese New Year soon.
Oh, yes.
Year of the Dragon. Whoa.
Gong hei fat choi.
Gong hei fat choi.
Yeah, gong hei fat choi, everyone. And so that's it.
We'll see you next month.
We'll see you next month. Have a beautiful, let's switch that to the right place. We'll have a beautiful time off. I'm just wittering.
Yes, thank you for being here. We'll say goodbye now.
Goodbye.
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 Just wait for them to finish their breakfast. 丸の内で積み草をした共和は10年代の初め私は10歳代の中頃銀行へ通う出勤の道すがら高物の裾を翻し歩道の脇をちょっと駆け上ると腹パッが開けたクローバータンポポ春情 Shy girl playing with your food, looking at the wall, wanting something to do. On your knees, facing west, took all day to put on your favorite dress. Tucked in, safe as houses, for how many hours? It must have been thousands. See the others, watch them pass. Everyone else seems to move so fast. Sparrow stands over your head and under your thoughts. You're long gone, no reason to stay here waiting. Sparrow stands over your head and under your thoughts. You're long gone, no reason to stay here waiting. Gather up your things, leave them up behind. This is not a joke, you've made up your mind. Gather up your things, leave them up behind. This is not a joke, you've made up your mind. Look out on the corner, but don't turn your head. If you look back, you'll forget what you said.